about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with me. Be free. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Jim here at Tutor to You. Welcome to our 7th live A-level business revision live stream for this term. And I'm joined today by Mike, a familiar face, joining me for today's session. How you doing, Mike?
Good afternoon, Jim. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good to see you. And, well, 7, isn't it amazing how quickly the time is flying by? We are whizzing towards Christmas.
We are indeed, and I've done no shopping at all, so I'm not too excited about that.
Oh, in which case then, can I suggest our calculation practice book as a nice stocking filler for you? That wasn't lined up at all in advance. Good. Maybe not. Anyway, look, welcome everyone who's joining us live for this session, which is on a marketing focus, but also some quantitative skills in there. We're looking at market share, market size, market growth, which is one of the many core topics that we're covering in this series of live stream this term. And the idea really is to sort of recap and go over those core topics that are likely to underpin success next summer. We've got a mix of activities, so if you're joining us live, use the live chat to have a go at the activities or ask any questions as we go. Try to pick up on those. Obviously, if you watch on catch up and replay, and last week over 500 students have watched the session on replay, well, you can't join us on live chat, but please do take the time to pause the video, have a good go at all the activities. Mike, anything else to say? What do you think? Should we get started?
Let's get started. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to start, as we often do, with the big reveal. And your task is to name the brand. We're going to give you 5 clues. Please try and name the brand. You can have as many goes as you want. Put your answers in the chat window. First clue is on the screen. This business was founded in 1980. Founded in 1980. Guesses in the chat window, please. Wonder who's going to be first to get the correct answer. Second clue, please. This is a Belgian brand and it's owned by multinational Danone. Danone. So it's a Belgian brand owned by multinational Danone. Keep the answers coming in, please. Clue number 3, it's not Apple, I can tell you that. Clue number 3, recorded, this organisation, this business, recorded 500 million euros of turnover in 2015. Its sales revenue was 500 million euros in 2015. I haven't seen a correct answer just yet. No, it's still not Apple, but keep the guesses coming, please. Number 4 now has over 40% of the UK plant-based food and drinks market. So over 40% of the UK vegan food and drinks market, plant-based. Keep guessing, please. You can have as many guesses as you want. Just pop the answers in the chat window. If you're watching this live, if you're not, if you're watching this on record, then you can have as many goes with yourself as you would like. Last one. I've got an answer in from Claire there. Thank you, Claire. Final clue here, investing, this organisation is investing £40 million worth in UK plant to increase capacity to make soya and oat-based drinks. And I think we've had a correct answer. Thank you, Claire. The correct answer here is Alpro. So Alpro, founded in 1980, Belgian brand, owned by Danone, over 500 million euros of turnover in 2015, and 40% of the UK plant-based food and drinks market. What a great way to start this session. Jim, over to you for some true and false.
Yeah, cheers, Mike. Yeah, interesting market, isn't it? The plant-based market in food and drink. Lots of product innovation. Literally every day, almost. It feels like every day there's a new product being launched, often by established brands who maybe weren't initially in that market. So a fast-growing market growth rate. But as you can see, they've got a competitor there, Alpro, which has quite a significant market share. We're going to just warm up before we get into some calculations, or some more tricky calculations, with 4 or 5 true or false questions. So your task is 50% chance, but I suspect your odds are better than that. Just type in true or false, or T and F, into the live chat, or if you watch on replay, write them down. Here's the first question. The formula for calculating market size by volume is units sold by a business divided by the market share of the business. Is that true or false? What do we think? Got lots of people joining us live today, which is fantastic. Don't be shy, have a go. You can either get it right or wrong, doesn't matter. No grades on offer today, just participation. Give you a few more seconds to have a think. And let's have a look at the answers, see whether our colleagues in the live chat window got this right. It is indeed true, yeah. It's a good example, that, of how you need to be able to manipulate formulae. So often you might calculate market share if you're given the market size and the units sold by a business. So sometimes you have to manipulate the formula depending on the information you're given. So well done if you got that one right. Have a go at this one. A business will always increase its revenues if the market it operates in is growing. Is that true or false? What do we think? As always with these, like all questions, particularly multiple choice questions or true false questions, read the question carefully. MJ Amos Vlogs is, as often the case in our live stream sessions, first in with an answer. Rarely misses a session and rarely fails to get one right, as well as getting in quickly. I'm not going to tell you what MJ Amos has gone for, because that will be giving the game away if you're watching on catch-up. A few more answers coming in. Let's take a look at the answer. And it is indeed false. Yeah, it won't always, will it? It won't always increase its revenues. If the market is growing, then it ought to be able to increase its revenues. However, if its market share falls by a bit bigger percentage increase than the market is growing by, then it will actually decrease its revenues, won't it? But in general, businesses operating in growing markets ought to be able to increase their revenues. So question 3. A market that grows by 10% each year will grow by more than 40% over 4 years. What do we think? This is quite a tricky question, actually. So I'm going to give you an extra 5 or 10 seconds whilst I take a sip of Alpro infused coffee. What do we think? A market that grows by 10% each year will grow by more than 40% over 4 years. We have lots and lots of students or colleagues joining us live, but not many typing into the chat window on this one. We do have an answer in there, a couple of answers actually, both going for false. Let's have a look at the answer. It is indeed true. It's a thing called, if you remember back from your GCSE maths days, called compound growth. Don't forget that once after year one, the market will be 110% of year zero, and then more than 120% because we're adding 10% on top of a bigger number each year. So often when you look at market growth rates, you have to take account of the fact that it's compound. Anyway, good. That was a slightly odd question. This one's a slightly easier one. According to the Boston Matrix, one of those key models that we study at A-level business, a business with a high market share in a low growth market, that's known as a star. Is that true or false? So this is a good example of a model that actually uses market share and market growth rate as a way of defining the different categories of products or businesses. Ibrahim is first in on this one. And Siki is very, very close afterwards, both saying false. If you think it's false, what do you think the correct answer is then? Type that into the chat window if you've got a few more seconds left. A business with a high market share in a low growth market. What is that? It is indeed a cash cow. Thank you, MJ Amos, first in there, a cash cow. Yeah, so that's false. Yeah, a high market share in a low growth market, that's a cash cow. Excellent. Last one, I think, of these. If a business has a market share of 20% and revenues of 500,000, then the market size is 2.5 million. A little quick calculation for you. What do we think? Is that true? If a business has a market share of 20% and revenues of £500,000, then the market size is 2.5 million. If you remember your formula for being able to manipulate the formula, if you're, in this case, we're given the market share, we're given the revenues, so the market size is the missing piece. Most people are going for true on this, and indeed it is true. Yeah, so it's £500,000 divided by 0.2, isn't it? 2.5 million. Good. I think that's, there we go, a bonus true-false question. Not always about calculations with this topic. Many businesses set corporate objectives to achieve a specific market size. Is that true or false? Many businesses set corporate objectives to achieve a specific market size. What do we think? True or false? Sinet's gone for true. First answer into the live chat. Lots of other answers coming through now. A few more seconds. A difference of opinion here. There is a fairly even split so far, I would say, in the live chat window between true and false. And the answer is indeed, it's false, isn't it? A business can't influence the market size. It will set a corporate objective to achieve a specific market share. That's within its control, but market size is not within the business's control. Excellent. Mike, back over to you. I think we're going to do our first of 3 calculation countdowns.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I think we're nicely warmed up now and ready for our first calculation countdown of the afternoon. So I'm going to give you a minute on this one. The question is on the screen. This year, the market size of widgets by volume is estimated to be 656,250. This would represent a 5% increase from last year. Calculate the number of widgets sold last year. Have 60 seconds on this. Here we go. Good stuff. 60 seconds goes by pretty quickly, feels like a minute. So we're asked to calculate the number of widgets sold last year. A few more seconds here if you're still working. Don't be alarmed if you can't do this in a minute. But a few more seconds and you can pop your answers in the chat window. Remember, calculation questions are important, and it's important that you work through them methodically. Got some answers coming through. I think MJ Amos, you're first in with the correct answer that I can see. So let's show the answer on the screen. It is, of course, 625,000 widgets. And the way we work that out is to divide this year's figure, 656,250, by 1.05. Recognizing, of course, that this year is a 5% increase from last year. So divide 656,250 by 1.05 and we will get the answer. We could do 656,250 divided by 105 and then multiply it by 100. Same thing. The answer would come out as 625,000. So a bit of exam gold for you. In your exam, you may be required to calculate the size of a market or indeed how much a market has grown. It's essential, therefore, that you can calculate, use, and understand both percentages and percentage changes. And these are areas that often cause some confusion. Understand percentages and percentage changes. The more comfortable you are with calculating percentage increases, percentage decreases, and understand percentages in general, the more successful you're likely to be with those types of questions. Really well done. Thanks for the answers in the chat window. Jim, I think it's time for the next activity.
Yeah, cheers, Mike. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, those percentage changes are examiner favourites, aren't they? And they can be tested in so many different ways. This topic in particular is very popular with the examiners for percentage changes. We're going to mix up the calculations as we go through this session. So we're sort of 10, 12 minutes in now. So we're going to mix it up with a couple of other activities. This one's called Categorise. What we've got on the screen there are 8 different markets, 8 different types of products. And in relation to their total global size, we have done some digging, done some research, and found out the forecast market growth rate for each of those 8 markets globally. We've got the global data, and this is a forecast for the next 2 years, annual increases. What you have to do is in 60 seconds, could you identify the products that you believe are in a market that is actually growing negatively, i.e. getting smaller? The products you think might be growing in terms of 0 to 5%, so relatively slow growth. But which products do you think are growing quite fast? 5% more being the criteria. Now, I'm not going to say how they are split in terms of negative 0.5, 5 plus, but maybe in the chat window, if you just put neg, then the number, maybe negative or neg toothpaste or neg number 5, and maybe if you think 5 plus is, I don't know, number 3 or number 8. So have a go. 60 seconds, as always. Have a go. Loads of answers coming into the live chat. How did you get on if you're watching on catch up? How many did you have in each category? Looks from the live chat as if most people think print magazines and newspapers is in a negative category, and quite a lot of people are plumping for vegan food and music streaming in the 5% plus category. But other than that, there's a bit of a mix of responses there, which is fine. Of course, the key thing is to try and work out which go into which category, and also maybe just have a think as a follow-up activity. Why? Well, there's the answers. So let's just spend a few seconds just going through what the numbers are if you want to write them down. Some great examples here of different markets, different growth dynamics. Don't forget, this is the global market, so this will also include demand outside of sort of mature economies like the UK and Europe and the US. In particular, emerging markets might have very strong growth for some of these products. Well, print and magazines, that global market is declining at 3% per year and has been for quite a long time. That's the only market that I came across out of these 8 that was negative. The others are all growing, but 3 of them are relatively low growth. Toothpaste, pet food, household vacuum cleaners. Mike, did I tell you that I'm going to sell my entire collection of vintage toothpaste?
You didn't tell me, Jim.
Oh, well, you might want to buy it because it's in mint condition. So toothpaste, pet food, vacuum cleaners are all low growth. Toothpaste is actually 3%, pet food 4%, as is vacuum cleaners. But the 4 fastest growing ones are toilet paper. That is, of course, new toilet paper, 6% growth globally. Music streaming is 10%, vegan food 9%, and athleisure, this new category, athleisure, athletic leisure clothing, the kind of stuff that Mike and I wear. You know, the kind of clothing you want to be seen in. That's growing by 9% as well. So some good examples of markets with a high growth rate and therefore lots of new entrants into the market. Well done for having a go with that activity. Mike, I think we have time for another countdown, one of 3 today.
Yep, thanks for that. I can't believe you rolled out that toilet paper joke, but there we are. There's calculation countdown number 2 for us.
Are you tearing a strip off me? What's happening here?
Calculation countdown number 2, moving swiftly on. Business A sold 250,000 units in the UK last year. It estimates that this will increase by 40% this year and that its market share will be 25%. Calculate the total size of the market by volume for this year. 60 seconds. Good luck. Good stuff. Some answers coming through, thanks to Sika and MJ Amos for theirs so far. A few more seconds if you're still working. This is much more like an exam question with multiple calculations required, multiple stages involved. So do not be alarmed if 60 seconds or a minute seems a bit tight. So business A, they sold 250,000 units in the UK last year. They estimate this will increase by 40% this year, and then its market share will be 25%. We need to calculate the total size of the market by volume for this year. Let's have a look at the answer. And I've seen some correct answers on the screen. 1,400,000 units is the correct answer. The first stage, of course, is to work out business A's sales this year. If it's going to increase by 40% from last year, we multiply 250,000 by 1.4, and we know that their sales this year will be 350,000 units. 350,000 units represents 25% of the market. So you could, I suppose, just multiply that by 4 to get the answer, to get 100%. Or you could divide 350,000 by 25 and multiply by 100 to get the answer, which is 1,400,000 units. If you got that right, extremely well done. If you didn't quite get there, or if you got the answer wrong, then the explanation should show you how to do it properly. And remember, this is about practice and about being prepared to make mistakes in order to learn. A bit more exam gold for you. When you're completing calculations, it's very good practice to start with the formula and to show your workings out. I teach my own students formula, figures, answer. write the formula first of all, then add in the figures, and then get to the answer. And the reason I say that is because even if you get the final answer wrong, you may be awarded some marks. If the examiner can see some evidence of understanding, you may be awarded some marks. So it may sound like it's a longer winded way of doing it, but I think it's a lower risk and a more rewarding way of approaching it. Jim, over to you for some more key information, I think.
Yeah, cheers, Mike. We've got one more calculation countdown coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to do a little exercise first, though, which just helps you try to sort of build an argument around the dimensions of market size and market growth. So just a quick recap. We've mentioned market size and market growth rate 3 or 4 times already in this session. So just to recap, don't forget market size is the total value of the market, the total available demand that all the competitors in the market are trying to capture. Ideally, you'd get 100%, wouldn't you? But it never quite works that way. So don't forget, it's the size of the prize. So we often measure market size either in terms of pound notes or currency, sales revenue, how much people are prepared to pay in total, or the amount, the volume sold. And don't forget also with marketing, markets can be split up into smaller parts, mini markets, if you like, segments we call them in marketing. Each segment might have some a different size, a different volume, different customers. So don't forget, market segmentation links in very closely with market size. There's a good point at the bottom there, just on this slide here, that it's not always easy to measure market size. We can quote market size numbers, but it all depends how you define it, doesn't it? What do we mean by the vegan market? What do we mean by plant-based food and drink? In some markets are easier to define than others. And then, I mentioned market growth. Don't forget, we've majored in on percentage changes here, both in terms of calculating them, but also pointing to the fact that this is an examiner favourite, market growth. It's the rate of change. It's the percentage change. That's typically how we measure market growth from one period to another. And we usually measure that on an annual basis. And again, you can measure percentages either based on the value of the market or the volume. So it depends which market size indicator you are using. But we just want to spend a couple of minutes thinking about markets that are growing fast, because it's often the case in exams that you get a case study where a business is thinking of entering a fast growing market, perhaps a faster growing market than the one they're in. So let's just spend a minute or two having a go at this, and I invite you to type some thoughts into the live chat. If you're with us live, if you're on replay, pause the video and spend a bit longer on it. So let's just think about this idea of what are the relative benefits and potential drawbacks of trying to enter markets with a high growth rate? Let's start with the benefits. Can anyone suggest in the live chat a potential benefit to a business of entering a high growth rate market, a market with, say, 9% growth, like the vegan food market, or 9% growth, like the athleisure market? What might be a benefit of a business deciding to enter that? Yeah, super. Well, lots of answers coming in. Seekers first in picking out a benefit in terms of simply rising sales. It's a great way, if you can enter the market and establish yourself, of growing your sales, and if they are profitable sales, perhaps adding some contribution to your costs and therefore profit. But also another benefit is broadening the interest, awareness of your product range. Superb stuff. Any more coming through before we suggest a couple ourselves? Let's take a look at a couple of our ideas. One is that if you enter a market with a high growth rate, you may be able to actually reach a scale where you can start to get economies of scale. Often high growth markets are both high growth but also bigger size, and therefore if you can have higher output in those markets, unit costs may fall. And I'm just nicking Seeker's point here, which is the potential for significant increases in revenues and profits. Right, flip this argument on its side now. If you were building a sort of a response that said, on the one hand, high growth markets are attractive, but on the other hand, what are the potential drawbacks of targeting high growth markets to a business? Has anyone got any ideas? I'll stay quiet for a few seconds whilst you type frantically into the live chat window. Got some great answers coming through here. The first two in the live chat both pointing to the fact that you're likely to be facing more competition, and in particular because more competitors are likely to be attracted to a market that is higher growth. So not just the existing competitors in the market, but also more new entrants. Superb stuff. Yeah, absolutely. MJ Amos, great point. If it's an attractive market, therefore the existing firms are perhaps more likely to retaliate in some way, given that they have an established position. Superb stuff. Well done. Yeah, so we're looking here at a couple of drawbacks. We've just picked out a couple, but nowhere near as good as the ones that have been added into the chat. Risk of copycat products emerging. Yeah, I like it. Here we go. Here's our two. You may need to, well, there's the bottom one. They're likely to face more intensive competition. And also, you may have to invest a lot to be successful in entering that market, perhaps even incurring losses in the early period whilst you establish your product, whilst you do your marketing, whilst you set up perhaps distribution or production capabilities. And also to respond, as MJ Amos was pointing out, to responding to competitor retaliation. Perhaps they cut their prices or do something to prevent you from establishing yourself. Not an easy thing to do to enter a high growth market. Superb. So that you get the idea. That's a really good set of responses. Well done. I think we've got time for one more calculation, Mike.
Absolutely. Some really good answers coming through there, Jim. Really high standard. Let's do another calculation countdown. Another minute to answer this one. We're looking at index numbers this time. Everybody's favorite. If they're not your favorite, it's simply because you haven't practiced them enough yet. The table shows the value of a market between 2018 and 2021 as expressed as an index. If the market size by value in 2018 was £1.8 million, what was the market size by value in 2020? So 2018 is the base year here, and sales then were £1.8 million. What was the market size by value in 2020? Here we go. Good stuff, and some answers coming through. Again, 60 seconds is quite ambitious to be able to do a calculation like this. So if you need a few more seconds, please take them and work through your calculations methodically, remembering that exam gold we focused on before. Formula, figures, answer, try and work through it longhand in order that you can really learn that methodology. So we're asked to calculate the market size by value in 2020, given the base year of 2018 at £1.8 million. The answer is £1.62 million. Sometimes difficult working with larger numbers. Some people prefer to write them out, but here we can keep it simple. 1.8 million in 2018. The base year there was 100. The index number was 100. In 2020, the index number is 90. So if we take 1.8 million and multiply it by 90 divided by 100, or 0.9, we'll get an answer of 1.62 million. If you've ended up with a larger number larger than 1.8 million, then you haven't recognized the decrease. But that is the answer, 1.62 million. As I said before, if you're not comfortable with index numbers, the likelihood is you just haven't spent enough time on them. Just need to practice some more and get some feedback. So another recap for you, this time on market share. Remember that market share represents the proportion, the percentage of the overall market sold by a particular business or by a brand or by a product. So we talk about the market share, maybe of a particular business in a market or a particular brand or a product. Key things to remember about market share are that it's expressed as a percentage. It explains how the overall market is divided up between the existing competitors. And usually when we calculate market share, it's based on market value, but we could also do it by volume of sales. Okay, we normally do it by market value, but it could be by sales volume. So the number of units that businesses sell as a percentage of the total. It's a really good indicator of competitive advantage. The businesses with the highest market share, the market leaders, usually have some kind of advantage or advantages over the other firms in the market. The key, of course, is to look for significant increases or decreases, looking for changes. So, for example, a business that used to enjoy the largest market share, but which has now lost its leadership position. So market share, a really important measure and one to just make sure you're comfortable with. Jim, I fancy some higher or lower. What about you?
We can do. Yeah, if you want to play higher or lower, yeah, why not? Well, let's do it. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've done higher or lower? So, and of course, this particular topic is perfect for it. Mike's just given us a great overview of market share there. So let's play higher or lower based on the market shares. And again, I've picked some global markets here, but some businesses, some well-known businesses. What is their market share of a particular global market? I'll give you the first one to start with. It's Tesla. And they have a 15% share of the global market for electric cars. So, is the next business higher or lower than 15%? It's Samsung. Is their market share of the global smartphone industry higher or lower than 15%? Type your answer into the window. Either type H or L. And if you want, put the percentage in if you think you want to have an educated guess as to what the percentage might be. If you think it's 4% or 50%. And I would say that so far, 100% of the students in the live chat have gone higher than 15%. What do you think it might be, though? Any thoughts? Who's going to be closest? Seeker's gone 20%. Shall we have a look? Or off to a start. If you can get all four of these right, it will be something else. The answer is 18%, so it is indeed higher. Yeah. Samsung is the global market leader. A business called Xiaomi, a Chinese based business, has 16%. And then good old Apple, 15% of the global smartphone market. Let's try another one. So relating to Samsung, is Tesco's share of the UK grocery market higher or lower than 18%? Tesco's share of the UK grocery industry. MJ Amos has gone higher. But again, if you think it's higher or lower, type in what you think their number is. It's often a percentage that students know. It's reported widely. Seeker's gone lower. Liam's gone much higher. He said 65%. Ibrahim agrees with higher, but hasn't yet given me a percentage. A few more seconds. Let's have a look. Well, Tesco is the market leader at the minute in the UK. Has been for a while, actually. Sainsbury's is second. 28% is Tesco's market share. That's as of the last 8 weeks to last week. So 28%. Okay, we have two left. Coca-Cola, the global soft drinks market. Now, so these will be all of Coca-Cola's brands added together. Okay, so this is a business's share of the global soft drinks market. What do we think? Is it higher or lower than 28%? Abida is first into the live chat with higher. Agreed by several of the respondents in the live chat. Again, have a guess if you think it is higher or lower. Type the number in. We've got another minute or so before we finish this session. Your last chance for glory and a shout out. Ibrahim has gone lower, but that's not the majority view. We've had a 34%, a 42% estimate in. These are good numbers. Good effort, good work here. Should we have a look? The answer is 41%. So Abida, that is awesome. MJ Amos, 40%. Split the difference. You both got within 1%. 41%. They are the global market leader. Obviously, just slightly ahead of PepsiCo, who, from memory, I think have about 36%. I might be wrong. but it's not far behind Coca-Cola. Last one. Well, we've had 3 highs, so that must mean that the next one must be higher as well, of course. Colgate-Palmolive, the global toothpaste market. We're back to toothpaste again, Mike. The global toothpaste market. What do we think? Is it higher or lower than 41%? And again, type your answers in. Whilst you're doing that, Mike, did I tell you I went to try and find the house where the guy who invented toothpaste was born?
No, you didn't, Jim.
Oh, I didn't
Can you
have
tell
any
me
luck.
now?
Well, I didn't have any luck because there was no plaque outside the house. So whilst the answers are flooding in here, most people going lower. What do we think? Last chance, last few seconds. And let's have a look at the answer. It is 50%. Colgate-Palmolive has 50%. 1 in 2 tubes of toothpaste consumed globally are made by the giant that is Colgate-Palmolive, a huge multinational business in the healthcare sector. Wow, that's quite an impressive market share, isn't it? You might argue too high. Of course, it's got lots of different brands and trades in different ways, different brands in different countries. But that's 50%. I'm gobsmacked by that, but I'm not gobsmacked by the answers, Mike. They were fantastic, weren't they, tonight? Amazing.
Yeah, we always have a high quality, but I thought today was particularly high. I thought really, really good answers.
Too right.
The speed of the answers was really impressive. Yeah, really well done, everyone.
And as we mentioned at the start, we had lots of calculations in there and they weren't easy. So as Mike said, particularly with percentage changes and index numbers, well worth practicing as much as you can. Don't forget, the Tutor to You business Twitter account now has a daily calculation question or daily short question to have a go at. Usually they are calculations. So well worth following that and having a go and adding your answer in to see how you get on. The answer is always revealed 24 hours after the question is set. So give that a try. We've done loads of these sessions this year, lots more on the way with Mike and Pete and Graham and the team. So go to tutor2u.net/live if you want to catch up on this and all the previous sessions, but also to see what's coming up in the weeks ahead. We'll be announcing our spring program as we get closer to Christmas, and a Christmas live stream special as well. But for now, a huge thanks to Mike for joining us. Have you enjoyed it, Mike? It's been good.
I've enjoyed it even more than I usually do. It was tremendous. Thank you, everyone.
Superb stuff. Well done. If you enjoyed it, if you found it useful, either live or on replay, please give us a thumbs up. YouTube loves it when people give us the thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, please just give us a thumbs up. Come on. And we will see you hopefully this time next week. It's a regular slot on a Tuesday, 4:30 for A-Level Business. And well, for Mike and I, see you later.
Bye, everyone.